An ugly man married a beautiful wife and was teased by his colleagues. However, the boss immediately noticed their happiness, thanks to his unique ability to read emotions through the eyes. Two wholesalers tried to steal a truckload of beer at night, planning to leave town with the profits, ignoring their unpaid bills. Unbeknownst to them, they were already being watched by Chae Young-ju. She locked the doors and chased them down. Trapped in the factory, the wholesalers pleaded for mercy and settled their long overdue payments. Chae Young-ju celebrated with her staff, who greatly admired her. The senior employees shared stories of her legendary efforts when Supreme Beer was still unknown in Busan. She distributed flyers and sought partners to boost the beer's market presence, making Supreme Beer the second best-selling brand in Busan. To maintain orders, they had to offer credit to wholesalers, some of whom defaulted or even fled. Whenever this happened, Chae Young-ju donned black tactical gear, chased them down on her motorcycle, and successfully recovered the debts, giving her employees a strong sense of security. They believed that it wouldn't be long before Supreme Beer surpassed Baemuk Beer as the top-selling beer in Busan. Meanwhile, the chairman was holding a meeting at headquarters about a new beer called In My Name, which had received excellent reviews. He ordered the planning and marketing managers to try it. After drinking it, they felt as if they had crossed from a stifling office into refreshing nature, feeling immensely pleased. The chairman directed all departments to either acquire In My Name's brewery or partner with them. Both managers worked hard to secure the deal, calling in Bang Arayam, a famously beautiful and effective planner. Yoon Min-ju, the owner of the brewery, spent his days brewing, hardly speaking or moving quickly, which annoyed the local women who thought he was odd. They criticized him just before a rugged man with a beard fanned his beautiful wife, both brewery employees. When Ju-an appeared upset, the women asked if she was all right. But Yoon Min-ju, who could accurately read emotions, assured them she was happy. At work, male colleagues joked that Ju-an, being so beautiful, marrying an older man was like attending a funeral. The husband covered her ears to shield her from the remarks. Yoon Min-ju enjoyed the relaxed atmosphere. The next day, Yoon Min-ju encountered Oh Chan-hui in the brewery, who had accidentally wandered in after tasting In My Name beer at a nearby pub and loved it so much he offered to work for beer instead of wages. Yoon Min-ju sensed that Oh Chan-hui was a warm and kind person using his unique ability. He asked Oh Chan-hui to leave his phone number and said he would contact him if needed. Oh Chan-hui cheekily asked for 2 bottles of beer in advance to take back to Busan for his sister. Soon after, Oh Chan-hui delivered the beer to Chae Young-ju. Having tried many kinds of beer, she was amazed by the taste of In My Name and thought their company should also produce this kind of beer. Yoon Min-ju was unaware that his beer had been recognized by the entire industry. After work, an older man and Ju-an came to see him. The older man wanted to ask for leave but didn't know how to say it. Yoon Min-ju guessed he wanted to visit Ju-an's hometown. The older man felt Yoon Min-ju understood him as if he could see inside his stomach. Yoon Min-ju commented that Ju-an had been in a good mood all day and only acted this way when going home. The older man praised Yoon Min-ju as the person who understood Ju-an best in the whole village. It was his mother-in-law's birthday and they needed to visit her, but he was worried that their absence would burden the workplace during a very busy time of the year. Yoon Min-ju reassured them and gave the older man an envelope to cover their travel expenses. Grateful, the older man and Ju-an quickly handed Yoon Min-ju a gift. That evening, Yoon Min-ju received a call from his half-brother who wanted him to attend his birthday party. Yoon Min-ju felt torn but didn't want to disappoint his brother and agreed. Before leaving, he asked Oh Chan-hui to house-sit and take care of his kitten. Meanwhile, Bang Arayam came to discuss a partnership with Yoon Min-ju, but mistook Oh Chan-hui for him. She was surprised at how smoothly the conversation went as Oh Chan-hui agreed to everything she said. When Oh Chan-hui revealed he was just house-sitting, Bang Arayam realized her mistake. At his brother's birthday party, Yoon Min-ju's father was insisting his brother become the chief of staff, fulfilling the father's unachieved dream. Yoon Min-ju became angry at his father for imposing his own wishes on his children. He reminded his father that even though he was a retired 2-star general, there was no need to dwell on past glory. Already critical of Yoon Min-ju's capabilities, his father became even angrier and accused Yoon Min-ju of being weak and incompetent. Yoon Min-ju, tired of hearing his father's harsh criticisms from childhood about his poor social skills and inability to do anything well, angrily told his father that everyone is different, and parents should accept their children's differences rather than labeling them as crazy. Unable to bear his brother also being hurt by their father's chauvinism, Yoon Min-ju took his brother away from the dinner to a fun fair, where they coincidentally ran into Chae Young-ju. Just then, Chae Young-ju had received a distress call from her subordinate and rushed to the scene to resolve an issue. Her team and Baemuk Beer's employees were fighting over advertising territories. Chae Young-ju arrived and accurately threw a chopstick through a Baemuk Beer billboard, reclaiming the contested territory. The issue was resolved perfectly. Later, Chae Young-ju received a call from a branch manager crying because headquarters decided to close their Busan branch to acquire the In My Name Brewery. Chae Young-ju does not want to give up the business she started. However, she can't change her boss's decision. She goes to a shooting range at an amusement park to vent her emotions. Coincidentally, Yoon Min-ju is there playing with his brother. His brother wants a stuffed toy, which requires shooting to win. This is difficult for Yoon Min-ju, who is not good at shooting. Chae Young-ju overhears their conversation and offers to help the brother get the toy he wants. Once she knows the target, Chae Young-ju channels all her anger into the bullets she fires. Yoon Min-ju steps forward, grabs her hand and looks into her eyes, seeing the turmoil within. Chae Young-ju's feelings are complex: anger, helplessness, and sadness. Through her eyes, Yoon Min-ju senses her profound sadness, which inexplicably affects him. He asks why she is upset. Chae Young-ju usually hides her emotions and does not share her troubles with strangers. She finds it odd that this stranger wants to probe her feelings. Yoon Min-ju realizes his behavior was inappropriate, as he usually does not pry into others' affairs. Yet he couldn't help but care. Aware of his overstepping, he quickly leaves with his brother. To avoid worrying her grandmother, Chae Young-ju pretends everything is fine when she gets home. The next day, her employees learn that their branch might be closed, causing widespread concern. Chae Young-ju reassures them that a solution will be found. The marketing manager hears of Chae Young-ju's situation and visits Busan from headquarters to propose a collaboration. If Chae Young-ju can persuade Yoon Min-ju to partner with Supreme Beer, the Busan branch can be saved. She agrees and soon heads to headquarters with everyone's hopes riding on her. After observing the bustling operations at headquarters, Chae Young-ju goes to Yoon Min-ju's village. However, she is not the first to arrive. Bang A-ryum, who previously mistook someone else for Yoon Min-ju, is already there waiting. Oh Chan-hui, standing in front of Yoon Min-ju, tells Bang A-ryum that Yoon Min-ju does not want to meet and should leave. Determined to settle things once and for all, Yoon Min-ju invites Bang A-ryum to sit and talk. Looking into her eyes, he sees her impatience and realizes she has been pressured by her superiors. He clearly states he will not work with Supreme Beer and advises Bang A-ryum to convey this directly to her superiors, freeing her from doing what she dislikes. After Yoon Min-ju leaves, a shocked Bang A-ryum, who had been smiling, doesn't understand how he guessed her thoughts. Oh Chan-hui mockingly comments on her surprise, and she warns him to stay out of it. Meanwhile, Chae Young-ju meets with the village head to ask for Yoon Min-ju's presence. Using a loudspeaker, the village head calls a village meeting and pointedly notes that some people should not pretend to be busy to avoid attending. Knowing this refers to him, Yoon Min-ju drives to the meeting. He did not expect to see the woman from the night market, nor did Chae Young-ju expect her contact to be the man she had met before. She quickly explains her purpose, but Yoon Min-ju states he has already refused Supreme Beer's employee and asks Chae Young-ju not to persist. After speaking, he leaves, and an anxious Chae Young-ju chases after him without even bothering to put on her shoes. Yoon Min-ju stared into Chae Young-ju's eyes and felt her overwhelming and nearly collapsing emotions. He didn't want her emotions to affect him anymore, so he turned around to leave. However, Chae Young-ju chased after him, explaining the terms of a collaboration. Yoon Min-ju didn't hear a word she said but noticed that she was barefoot. He found a pair of slippers for her before leaving, telling Chae Young-ju that her urgency made things harder for him. Every time Yoon Min-ju saw Chae Young-ju, he noticed her complex emotions hidden beneath a calm exterior. Her emotions affected him, making it impossible for him to manage his own. He silently vowed never to meet her again. But the next moment, Chae Young-ju appeared in front of him. She stood by the car, causing Yoon Min-ju to become very irritated. He got out of the car and announced he would block her, then drove away. Chae Young-ju, refusing to give up, went to Yoon Minju's brewery with Oh Chan-hui's help. Oh Chan-hui, a skilled communicator, convinced two elderly ladies to help. They observed Yoon Minju's room from the building's lower floors. The ladies told Cha Young-ju that sometimes Yoon Minju would close his curtains and shut himself in, like an animal hibernating. Even if a fire was lit outside, he wouldn't come out. At that moment, seeing smoke inside, the ladies worried about a fire and Yoon Minju's safety. Chae Young-ju, equipped for the situation, rappelled down to his window and appeared just as he was about to open it. After seeing the scented candles inside, she relaxed. Yoon Minju was so startled he couldn't speak clearly and urged her to come down. Seizing the moment, Chae Young-ju asked him to lift the blockade against her. She landed safely and shouted, hoping Yoon Minju would collaborate and that she would protect him and his brewery. Yoon Minju complained that her look was not one of waiting for contact, but that of a madwoman, fearing he had been entangled by a strange person. Chae Young-ju then went shopping for groceries and ran into Bang A-reum from the planning team. Bang A-reum, convinced Yoon Minju wouldn't agree to collaborate, tried to persuade Chae Young-ju to return with her to convince the managers to drop the plan. But Chae Young-ju, never one to give up, faced difficulties head-on. Learning from the village head that the hop fields were busy and the couple had taken leave, Chae Young-ju quickly decided to become a field worker to remove any obstacles to approaching Yoon Minju. Yoon Minju held a meeting with his employees, instructing the village head and the elderly ladies not to let Chae Young-ju in. The village head, reluctant but compelled by Yoon Minju's annual donations to the village and his position at the brewery, stopped Chae Young-ju on her way into the village. However, after Chae Young-ju showed him a trunk full of supplements and promised them to him if he let her pass, he allowed her through. He called Yoon Minju to report the first breach. Although Yoon Minju thought the village head lacked spine, he wasn't angry, relying on what he believed was the stronger barrier, the two elderly ladies who usually insulted him. He trusted the two elderly ladies to persuade Chae Young-ju to leave. So Yoon Minju continued to enjoy his leisurely breakfast, waiting for good news. Chae Young-ju saw the two elderly ladies blocking the road, thought for a moment, and then came up with a solution. She used the tactic she normally used on her grandmother. Chae Young-ju clutched her stomach and shouted she was hungry. One elderly lady became anxious. "Who hasn't had breakfast, and it's almost noon?" The other elderly lady retorted, "Let her starve. Only then will she learn skipping meals can be deadly." Chae Young-ju thought her method had failed, so she continued to pretend to be in pain. The elderly ladies couldn't bear it anymore and let her follow them inside. Chae Young-ju cheered herself on, now only 500 meters from Yoon Minju. As she ate the rice balls prepared by the elderly lady, she talked about the life of mutual care with her grandmother. The elderly ladies hadn't expected the seemingly frail Chae Young-ju to be shouldering the responsibility of supporting her family. They teared up from sympathy, swearing to firmly support Chae Young-ju. Meanwhile, Yoon Minju learned that the second line of defense had been breached. He lost his appetite and started looking for Chae Young-ju's whereabouts, wanting to drive her out. Yoon Minju arrived at the orchard. He saw an elderly lady at the top of a ladder, picking fruit. It was too high off the ground, and he worried about the danger, urging her to come down quickly. Two elderly ladies walked over from the side and asked whom he was calling. Yoon Minju was very confused. Then who was the person on the ladder dressed like the elderly ladies? At that moment, Chae Young-ju jumped down from the ladder and stood in front of him. A special forces-trained beer saleswoman works alone in a brewery to please the brewmaster. Sadly, the brewmaster has the unique ability to read minds and sees through her deliberate flattery. Yoon Minju stops Chae Young-ju from working in the flower field and clearly tells her that such flattery is useless. Chae Young-ju explains she stayed to sign a contract with him, not to please him. She helps when needed, which is her principle. Despite objections, Chae Young-ju continues to mow the lawn. Yoon Minju tries to stop her again. Two old ladies discuss how opposites attract. Chae Young-ju, with her military background, mows better than any man. The ladies are pleased with Chae Young-ju and suggest she stay. Yoon Minju calls Oh Chan-hui to replace her, unaware that Oh Chan-hui has already been ordered by Chae Young-ju to claim he's unavailable. Frustrated, Yoon Minju looks for another chance to send Chae Young-ju away. Observing Yoon Minju, Chae Young-ju learns he often suffers headaches from noise, is uncomfortable with touch, and cannot tolerate rough textures, often cutting tags off his clothes. These signs show he is sensitive. The old ladies appreciate Chae Young-ju's hard work. Yoon Min-ju remains firm in his views, feeling even her hard work won't earn appreciation. Chae Young-ju clarifies she's not seeking recognition. She just wants to ease the ladies' burden. She tries to take a bottle of water from Yoon Min-ju but trips, catching herself with her strong core. She's pleased with her strong body. Yoon Min-ju, troubled by Chae Young-ju's vitality, decides to have an early lunch due to the heat. Chae Young-ju complains about dining under the sun. The old ladies take her to a cool room with a TV, fridge, coffee, and drinks, explaining it's a perk provided by their boss. Chae Young-ju imagines Yoon Min-ju setting up the room and is impressed by his thoughtful management. Eating alone, Yoon Min-ju reflects on Chae Young-ju's genuine but self-neglecting nature, which unsettles him. He resolves to send her away after lunch. In the afternoon, he finds Chae Young-ju sweating from the heat and turns on a fan. Chae Young-ju wishes for a cold Americano, which he quickly provides. Then, craving sweet cream bread, Yoon Min-ju hands it to her. Chae Young-ju enjoys it happily, and Yoon Min-ju wipes cream from her lips and helps tie her hair, which is messy from eating. Chae Young-ju wondered how Yoon Min-ju could accurately guess her thoughts. In fact, it wasn't guessing. While she was working, Yoon Min-ju observed her and listened to her conversations. This allowed him to prepare exactly what she wanted. Chae Young-ju felt they were getting familiar, but their moment was interrupted by two late-arriving ladies who teased them. Suddenly, Yoon Min-ju remembered his vow to drive Chae Young-ju away, and declared that seeing her made him uncomfortable and wanted her to leave immediately. Chae Young-ju, unsure how to respond, simply said goodbye to everyone. However, she is determined and wouldn't leave without conquering Yoon Min-ju. She switched tactics and went to a local beer shop, buying 10,000 milliliters of In My Name beer. The village head, having never seen such a scene, was frightened and called Yoon Min-ju for help. Arriving just in time, Yoon Min-ju heard a drunk Chae Young-ju insisting on saving the Busan distributorship and protecting the employees. Yoon Min-ju thought she was being too strong, protecting the company with the same spirit she used to protect the country, but he saw it as self-harm. Emotional buildup could lead to self-injury. Looking up, Yoon Min-ju realized that Chae Young-ju had fallen asleep, sitting, still alert, even in sleep. Unable to leave her drunk, he placed her on his motorcycle's rear seat, tied her to himself, and took her back to the hops field. Yoon Min-ju felt helpless against Chae Young-ju and gave up. The entire village was busy with the beer festival, and Chae Young-ju quickly woke up from her brief rest, diligently helping everyone complete the work. Everyone praised her competence and warmly welcomed her to settle in the village. Yoon Min-ju was amazed that someone who drank 10,000 milliliters of beer recovered so quickly. Worried about Chae Young-ju bothering him, he hurriedly went to work, but she followed, insisting on helping. The two ladies believed their completely opposite personalities made a perfect match. To help them get together, they asked Chae Young-ju to collect a specific type of leaf on the mountain. After successfully tricking Chae Young-ju into going up the mountain, they frantically informed Yoon Min-ju that she was alone on the mountain where wild boars roamed, possibly in danger. Initially reluctant, after the ladies performed a drama about Chae Young-ju and her grandmother depending on each other, Yoon Min-ju could no longer ignore it and rushed to find her. It was getting dark, and Chae Young-ju's phone was dead. Worried about twisting her ankle while descending, she decided to make a fire and stay on the mountain overnight. By the fire, Chae Young-ju finally asked why Yoon Min-ju didn't want to see her. He explained that he wasn't mad or disliked her. Seeing her reminded him of his past self. As a child, he often heard he was too sensitive. His father, a military man, wanted a son with machismo. Clearly, the sensitive Yoon Min-ju did not meet his father's expectations. He once asked his mother why he was different from others. His mother told him that everyone is unique. Just be yourself, she said. But after his mother passed away, his father wouldn't let him live in his own world and slapped him. So, whenever he saw the enduring Chae Young-ju, it was like seeing his former helpless self. Chae Young-ju held his hand to comfort him, glad that he could now fully be himself. Yoon Min-ju once told a story from 6 years ago when someone saved his life. He couldn't remember anything about that person, except for one thing they said. No matter what happens, always protect yourself first. That's how you respect yourself. Now, he was trying to live by those words. Compared to Yoon Min-ju Chai, Young-ju was in a worse situation. She couldn't help but cry. Yoon Min-ju, sensing all her emotions, let her rest her head on his shoulder. The usually tense Chai Young-ju finally had a good sleep. The next morning, the two descended the mountain only to find the village unusually quiet, as if deserted. It turned out that Bang Areum, who had abandoned the mission, was being scolded by the planning manager. She was forced to use any means necessary to get Yoon Min-ju to agree to a collaboration. Desperate, Bang Areum called a village meeting, claiming it was a chance for everyone to get rich by expanding the brewery and increasing sales. Partner with Supreme Beer, and I guarantee the beer will sell, she promised. Then Bang Areum lied, saying that Chae Young-ju was there to invite Yoon Min-ju to Seoul-to develop a new beer for Supreme Beer. If Yoon Min-ju left, they would lose their beer industry. The villagers, enraged, surrounded Chae Young-ju. They dragged Yoon Min-ju over to make him distance himself from Chae Young-ju. Yoon Min-ju, pained by the unjust treatment of Chae Young-ju, stepped in front of her resolutely, standing by her side. Chae Young-ju, confused about why the villagers suddenly despised her, wanted answers. The villagers revealed they had been informed by Bang Areum about her true purpose. As Bang Areum approached, claiming she had told the villagers her purpose, Chae Young-ju pleaded for a chance to explain, but the crowd, convinced she was a fraud, refused to listen. The scene was chaotic. Yoon Min-ju blamed Chae Young-ju and Bang Areum for the turmoil caused by Supreme Beer, demanding they stop disrupting the villagers' lives and leave immediately. Chae Young-ju, recalling the kind Yoon Min-ju and contrasting it with his scolding, was shocked. The village head threw salt on her, and the deal failed again. Furious, Chae Young-ju was about to hit her forehead when Yoon Min-ju suddenly appeared, stopping her. He gently wiped the salt from her eyes, reminding her to break the habit of hurting herself when upset. Chae Young-ju stepped back, accusing Yoon Min-ju of being emotionally unstable, which made her feel very confused. Yoon Min-ju invited Chae Young-ju to come home with him for an explanation. After taking a bath, Chae Young-ju found food prepared by Yoon Min-ju on the table. After eating, she approached Yoon Min-ju, who apologized, explaining his demeanor, whether kind or cold, might change depending on the situation, because he valued the villagers the most. 4 years ago, Yoon Min-ju came to the village alone. Being unsociable, he often remained silent, but the villagers firmly treated him as one of their own, actively approaching him and inviting him to meetings. The village head also wanted to host a festival like the neighboring village. Unfortunately, there are hardly any young people in the village. Their crops, like melons and fruits, have been taken by the neighboring village. They don't have the reputation to host a festival. The village head asked Yoon Min-ju for his opinion. Seeing everyone sighing in disappointment, Yoon Min-ju realized the urgent need for a good idea. Overcoming his fear, he bravely stood up and suggested planting beer trees to hold a beer blossom festival. The villagers accepted Yoon Min-ju's suggestion and began to plant these trees. Together, they brewed and sold beer, gradually developing a thriving beer industry. Every step reflected their collective effort, making Yoon Min-ju feel at home. Thus, he prioritized the villagers' interests in every decision. Chae Young-ju understood this feeling, as she always acted for the sake of her employees in Busan. The next day, the village hosted a beer festival. Chae Young-ju didn't want to leave just yet. She needed to clarify things to the villagers. Before doing so, she called Bang Areum to question what exactly had been communicated to the villagers. Bang Areum explained she had merely informed them about the financial benefits of a brewery acquisition. Chae Young-ju opposed her approach, explaining that if acquired, the In My Name beer would belong to Supreme Beer. The beer fields and tavern that Yoon Min-ju and the villagers had worked on for 4 years would become the property of Supreme Beer. Chae Young-ju wanted to collaborate with Yoon Min-ju to develop new beers, ensuring nothing changed. She warned Bang Areum that gains made by undermining others are neither enduring nor guaranteed to succeed. After their discussion, Chae Young-ju found out about a severe conflict between the villagers and the village head. It turned out he had scheduled the beer order for next week. With no beer for the festival, and their own supply insufficient for unlimited drinking, they couldn't order more on such short notice. Yoon Min-ju calmed everyone and decided to make do with what they had. He asked the village head to find any available beer sources. Yoon Minju needed help to transfer the brewery's current beer stock. Oh Chan-hui volunteered immediately, and Bang A-Riem also offered to help. Chae Young-ju left without a word and contacted her Busan team to quickly arrange a beer shipment. Her team worked efficiently, and soon, she and an agent were speeding back to the village with a truck full of beer, happy to resolve the urgent need. They could now negotiate with Yoon Minju, who would likely agree to sign a contract. However, Chae Young-ju preferred a willing collaboration rather than imposing conditions. On their way, a car accident blocked the road. Chae Young-ju instructed the agent to brake quickly, but the sudden stop caused all the beer to spill. She then remembered a client from Busan who had told her to reach out if she ever needed help. Chae Young-ju explained her needs to a client, who quickly arrived with several trucks of beer, accompanied by his staff. Grateful, Chae Young-ju was comforted by the client, who attributed the quick response to her previous good deeds. She then led the convoy to the village. Meanwhile, Yoon Minju, along with Bang A-Riem and Oh Chan-hui, loaded the beer stocks onto their truck. Bang A-Riem told Yoon Minju that an acquisition wouldn't require such hard work. She twisted Chae Young-ju's intentions, suggesting that Chae Young-ju planned to take Yoon Minju away, which would harm the village the most. Oh Chan-hui clarified that Chae Young-ju wouldn't let the village suffer, and although her initial intention was to save her colleagues in Busan, she would find another solution. Bang A-Riem misinterpreted this, asserting that Chae Young-ju only wanted to sign the contract for the sake of the Busan branch, and might return to Busan once it was done. She urged Yoon Minju to consider whether Chae Young-ju was trustworthy. Chae Young-ju, who overheard this conversation, was hurt that Yoon Minju agreed with Bang A-Riem. She told Yoon Minju that signing with him did indeed relate to whether her Busan branch would close, but she never intended to exploit him or the villagers. She knew how important the village was to Yoon Minju. The beer Chae Young-ju brought saved the festival. She told the villagers that despite their view of her, her actions were meant to help, and they could freely use the beer. At that moment, Yoon Minju joined her, announcing his decision to sign with her. A dejected Bang A-Riem was comforted by Oh Chan-hui, who made her toast and discreetly closed the curtains so others wouldn't see her upset. Yoon Minju, dressed in a suit, went to sign the contract at Supreme Beer. Nervous about dealing with strangers, he had to stop his car to calm his nerves. Chae Young-ju, guessing his condition, sent him a video of customers praising the In My Name beer, thanking Yoon Minju for such a delicious brew. Encouraged by Chae Young-ju's supportive words at the end of the video, Yoon Minju confidently entered Supreme Beer. A special team was formed at Supreme Beer, led by Chae Young-ju with Bang A-Riem as a member. Yoon Minju brought Oh Chan-hui along, requesting his inclusion to share the workload. The agreement was joyfully signed. Oh Chan-hui suggested a celebration. Concerned about Yoon Minju's comfort, Chae Young-ju was reassured when Yoon Minju agreed to a 2-hour limit. At the bar, an agent, unhappy with how close Chae Young-ju and Yoon Minju were, challenged Yoon Minju to a wine tasting contest, which Yoon Minju won. Oh Chan-hui played other games with the agent, who kept losing. After the party, Yoon Minju bought ointment for the agent, while Chae Young-ju tenderly cared for him like a sister. Yoon Minju noticed the agent's nervous demeanor and apparent affection for Chae Young-ju, feeling an unusual quickening of his own heartbeat. Suddenly, it began to rain heavily, and the agent ran with Chae Young-ju to take shelter. Yoon Minju, still processing his feelings, stood frozen, wondering if he had fallen for the woman before him. Chae Young-ju noticed Yoon Minju clutching his chest and asked if he felt unwell. Yoon Minju said his heart was racing and explained that as a sensitive person, he easily picks up on others' emotions. He urged Chae Young-ju and the representative to leave quickly, saying his symptoms would fade once they left. Chae Young-ju and the representative were puzzled and suspected he might be drunk. Yoon Minju urged them to leave again. As they walked away, he touched his chest, upset that the representative hadn't realized his own feelings for Chae Young-ju, which also influenced Yoon Minju's emotions. The next day, Yoon Minju was taking photos in the hops field. 2 elderly women posed, hoping for a beautiful photo, but Yoon Minju refused. He never took photos of people, only of things that are unchanging. His mother, also a photographer, had only taken photos of landscapes, not people. On her way to the hops field, Chae Young-ju looked up information about Yoon Min-ju's condition of absorbing others' emotions. She found that people with this condition often struggle to distinguish whether the emotions are their own or someone else's. They can clearly feel others' emotions and provide comfort, but may deplete their own energy. Chae Young-ju saw Yoon Min-ju and the elderly women, who warmly invited them to lunch. The representative enthusiastically helped Chae Young-ju. Yoon Min-ju watched their natural intimacy, his heart starting to race uncontrollably. He found it unbearable. When the representative went to fetch water, Yoon Min-ju quickly followed and urged him to confess his feelings for Chae Young-ju. The representative laughed it off, clarifying that his feelings for Chae Young-ju were like those of a fan towards an idol, purely admiration and respect. Chae Young-ju organized a meeting to inform everyone about visiting famous breweries for a market survey. Bang A-reum thought they should just buy the beer instead of spending time on research. Oh Chan-hui also felt it was a waste of time. Chae Young-ju, determined, told them the chairman's request was to create a new beer, and she wanted to avoid quick-fix methods on the market, deciding to conduct research first and then give Yoon Min-ju 6 months for development. After the meeting, Chae Young-ju asked the head office staff to help her find accommodation, but they pointed out it was an unreasonable request as their job was to develop beer, not find housing. Yoon Min-ju saw Chae Young-ju was upset and followed her to offer comfort. Remembering the information she had read, Chae Young-ju insisted she was fine, knowing comforting others drained Yoon Min-ju's energy. He hesitated to leave, asking if Chae Young-ju was pretending to be indifferent to avoid influencing him. He was about to express his concern for her emotions when the representative suddenly appeared and interrupted him. Yoon Min-ju watched Chae Young-ju and the representative chatting happily and left feeling dejected. Back at the hops field, he complained that Chae Young-ju didn't even greet the elderly women before leaving. Seeing Yoon Min-ju upset, one of the women quickly called someone to stop Chae Young-ju. Chae Young-ju and the representative went to the supermarket to buy water, but the cashier claimed the cash register was broken and could not give change. Chae Young-ju didn't mind as they often came here for meetings, and not getting change was not an issue. Ju-an forced Chae Young-ju to drink 2 bottles before leaving. After Chae Young-ju finished her drinks and was about to leave, the village head hurried over. He lied that 2 elderly women were very angry because she left without greeting them. Chae Young-ju told her representative to go ahead while she went to greet them. Meanwhile, the 2 elderly women took Yoon Min-ju to a tavern where they finally met and cleared the air. Yoon Min-ju and Chae Young-ju did not disappoint everyone. They sat together, drinking and chatting. Chae Young-ju shared her troubles. She lived with her grandmother after losing her parents during her school years, was often called an orphan by classmates, and retaliated against those who spoke ill of her. She never compromised and was accustomed to fighting those who bullied her to avoid showing sadness. Her mantra was, "It's okay, no problem," which moved everyone. Yoon Min-ju subconsciously patted her head to comfort her. When Chae Young-ju asked what he was doing, he lied about dust on her head, but was teased by the villagers. Their conversation relaxed them, and Yoon Min-ju, seeing her bright smile, smiled uncontrollably. Seeing his happy reflection in the mirror, he felt like a stranger. Back home, he struggled to calm down, always remembering her smile and questioning if his feelings were genuine, deciding to confirm his emotions. Oh Chan-hui drove Bang A-reum home. She got out at a convenience store, and he followed, thinking she was shopping, only to find her checking out in a work uniform. Surprised that she worked part-time after her main job, he accidentally knocked over items on a shelf. When Bang A-reum came to clean up, Oh Chan-hui was struck by her appearance and asked why she was working part-time despite being a corporate employee. Before she could answer, a woman rushed in, apologizing for being late and calling Bang A-reum boss, shocking Oh Chan-hui, as he realized Bang A-reum was the owner, not an employee. The next day, the group of 6 went to Busan for market research. They decided to act together after lunch by the sea. Hearing cries for help, Chae Young-ju and Oh Chan-hui rushed to save a drowning person. After the rescue, Chae Young-ju performed CPR, and the person regained consciousness. Yoon Min-ju took off his clothes for Chae Young-ju to wear and took her to change. Oh Chan-hui lay on the ground, letting Bang A-reum help him up, admiring his rescue efforts with an appreciative gaze. Surprised by Chae Young-ju and Oh Chan-hui's capabilities, Upon inquiry, they learned both were from special forces, acting on instinct. Yoon Min-ju brought a suitcase with towels and clothes for Chae Young-ju and Oh Chan-hui to change out of their wet clothes. The group visited a brewery where Yoon Min-ju, usually not photographing people, was drawn to Chae Young-ju's poise and confidence. Just as he was about to take her photo, she called him over, startling him into putting down the camera. After leaving the brewery, Chae Young-ju saw a colleague from Busan being unfairly treated by a competitor. To seek justice, she confronted the rival. Outnumbered, one of them threatened Chae Young-ju with a beer bottle. Chae Young-ju grabbed the beer bottle, ready to confront the offender when their manager rushed over to apologize. He explained that the new staff didn't recognize Chae Young-ju's reputation. Chae Young-ju managed to resolve the issue peacefully. She returned to the Busan branch to check on things and found the branch was not performing as well as before. The employees promised to hold on and wait for her return. Chae Young-ju asked them to hang in there for 6 more months, promising to do her utmost to save the branch. Yoon Min-ju sensed Chae Young-ju's determination and felt his heart racing uncontrollably again. He noticed her hand was cut and took it upon himself to apply medicine, advising her not to get hurt in the future, which concerned him. Chae Young-ju, unaware of his feelings, asked why he cared. Yoon Min-ju, at a loss for words, quickly changed the subject. In appreciation, Chae Young-ju squeezed his fingers. Seeing her smile, Yoon Min-ju confirmed his feelings for her. Every interaction with Chae Young-ju made his heart race, a clear sign of his affection. That evening, both felt complex emotions. After the research was over, Yoon Min-ju was reluctant to part with Chae Young-ju. To spend more time with her, he checked if she was ready to leave. Back home, Yoon Min-ju cheerfully developed the photos he had taken, including one of Chae Young-ju. It was his first time photographing a person, and he hung her picture in a prominent place, his lips curving into a smile. Villagers knocked on his door to share good news. In his absence, many distributors had placed orders, making their beer very popular. They were on their way to becoming a large business. Yoon Min-ju worried they couldn't meet the beer orders on time. Fortunately, Supreme Beer agreed to accommodate his schedule. As long as they planned well, it wouldn't affect their own beer production. The village head worried Supreme Beer might not cooperate easily. Yoon Min-ju and 2 elderly women trusted Chae Young-ju's character, believing she would deliver as promised. Unfortunately, as the village head predicted, Supreme Beer held a meeting. Competitors had launched a campaign against all Supreme Beer products. The chairman decided to fast-track a new product, demanding that Chae Young-ju cut the new beer's development time from 6 months to 3. Bang A-Riem realized her mistake when the planning team head had previously asked her how long the launch would take, and she had honestly said 6 months. Not wanting to lose to the marketing team, he ordered Bang A-Riem to report every decision Chae Young-ju made, which was why he had her join Chae Young-ju's team. Chae Young-ju thought 3 months was too tight and would significantly impact Yoon Min-ju's original work. However, the chairman refused to change the decision. The marketing team leader, wanting to secure a victory, agreed on Chae Young-ju's behalf, claiming she could persuade Yoon Min-ju. After the meeting, Chae Young-ju confronted the marketing team leader, arguing that the sudden change would erode Yoon Min-ju's trust, and that 3 months was not enough time to fulfill other beer orders. The marketing team leader felt that since the contract was signed, Yoon Min-ju had to comply. The marketing team leader threatened Chae Young-ju with the closure of the Busan branch unless she developed a new beer quickly. When the villagers found out, they were very angry and accused Chae Young-ju of betraying them. They demanded an explanation from her. Yoon Min-ju immediately tried to contact Chae Young-ju, but she did not answer. To the villagers, her silence was seen as guilt and an inability to face them. Oh Chan-hui, upon learning about the situation, informed Chae Young-ju that Yoon Min-ju already knew about the new product. Chae Young-ju then hurried to explain things to Yoon Min-ju. While on her way, she received a call from her colleagues at the Busan branch, who were eager for her return. Chae Young-ju was distressed because she had no choice but to follow her boss's orders regardless of her wishes, and could only apologize to Yoon Min-ju. After calming the villagers, Yoon Min-ju stepped outside and met Chae Young-ju, who apologized profusely. Yoon Min-ju, not wanting Chae Young-ju to be mobbed by the villagers, quickly ushered her into the car and told her to leave immediately. To save time, Yoon Min-ju worked overtime at the brewery. He knew Chae Young-ju was under great pressure, and understood her self-blame and guilt. The best he could do was to finish his tasks as quickly as possible to ease her burden. Feeling deeply guilty, Chae Young-ju returned home and drank. She realized that only the team members knew the 6-month development timeline, yet the chairman had mentioned it accurately during the meeting, indicating a traitor in their group. Chae Young-ju knew who it was. The next day, she deliberately handed a new product plan to Bang A-reum to handle. After she left, the planning team leader called Bang A-reum into his office. When Bang A-reum was about to enter, Chae Young-ju took the documents from her and entered the office herself. She told the planning team leader that Bang A-reum was now her person, and if he wanted information, he should come directly to her and not use Bang A-reum. After the meeting, she left with Bang A-reum, who apologized for her mistake. Chae Young-ju understood her situation and encouraged her to make amends. The next day, Chae Young-ju led her team members to Yoon Min-ju's brewery to help produce the beer ordered by the distributors. Yoon Min-ju observed the busy team and appreciated Chae Young-ju's leadership and organizational skills. With everyone's concerted effort, beer production significantly increased. 2 elderly ladies cooked dinner to reward everyone, and the mood was very cheerful. However, Bang A-reum quietly left the dinner table. Oh Chan-hui followed to comfort her. Bang A-reum confessed that as a newcomer, she worked hard every day and enjoyed the admiration for her beauty, using her appearance to boost her confidence. But upon meeting Chae Young-ju, who valued ability and attitude over appearance, Bang A-reum felt envious yet resentful toward her, conflicted by her own feelings. Oh Chan-hui reassured her, acknowledging her beauty and telling her that her inner conflict showed she was a good person at heart. Bang A-reum felt a bit uneasy from the praise and a little shy. Yoon Min-ju showed Chae Young-ju his room. Chae Young-ju looked around curiously. When she saw her own photo, she couldn't help but exclaim how kind Yoon Min-ju was to have taken a photo just for her. Yoon Min-ju, smiling, looked into Chae Young-ju's eyes and said, "You've entered a place no one else has." Chae Young-ju's heart raced, and to hide her flurry, she asked Yoon Min-ju for the photo. Standing behind her, Yoon Min-ju said he really liked it, but it was the photo he liked. Chae Young-ju laughed to cover her embarrassment, and Yoon Min-ju also breathed a sigh of relief. The next day, they saw Bang A-reum and Oh Chan-hui off. Chae Young-ju said she had an appointment in Busan and had to leave early. Yoon Min-ju was also returning to Busan to see his brother. Before parting, Yoon Min-ju extended his hand for a high five, like he did with Oh Chan-hui and Bang A-reum. Chae Young-ju reached out to high five, but Yoon Min-ju grabbed her hand, expressing his gratitude. Chae Young-ju left nervously. Yoon Min-ju went to his father's house where his stepmother informed him that his father said a guest was coming and had gone out to welcome them. Annoyed, Yoon Min-ju wished he had come another day. His stepmother thought his presence was necessary, mentioning the guest was the person who saved his life 6 years ago. Yoon Min-ju then learned that not only did his father know who it was, but had kept in touch with them. His stepmother said it was the first time the lifesaver was visiting their home, and she had never met them before. Yoon Min-ju anxiously awaited to properly thank this person. However, to his surprise, the person following his father inside was Chae Young-ju, whom he had just parted with. Seeing Chae Young-ju, Yoon Min-ju remembered the car accident and realized the face calling him from outside the car was indeed Chae Young-ju's.